Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for being here.
Hey, welcome to Event Conversations and Q&A. We are happy to have you here.
Yes.
We
Glad to be here.
We attempt to do this at least once a week, sometimes more. And we hope you all had an awesome holiday weekend.
Yes.
For those that celebrated, we did. We had a lot of fun.
A lot of fun. Kids had a ball.
Yeah, and it's always fun to see, through their eyes. That's why.
Yes.
That's
why we do it.
Yeah, I was like, we can take it or leave it, but we do it because...
Yes, we make an event out of it also.
Yeah, and speaking of events, whether it's, corporate events or, seminars, meetings, workshops, we attempt to make, mini events out of all kinds of different
everything.
Occasions, birthdays, holidays, just because days,
Yeah, why?
The more that you can...
And they're going to remember forever.
The more that you can make a memory, something they can look...
cherish that.
And they do, and it's amazing to hear, all the things that they do remember that we've done or they talk about, or like, oh, you remember this? Remember we did that?
Even on their iPads, they stay in the Photos app because of all the stuff we've done, all the pics, vids, everything they're watching.
It brings that right back to
them. No matter how old, even when she was this little,
No, just all kinds of different cool stuff that they to look back on and cherish. So we're certain that everyone had an awesome day, and we are officially in spring.
Yes, we are.
Spring has sprung. I think a lot of people are still digging out of snow, but it is getting warmer. He's got his sunglass line tan that he's working on. So outside,
changing colors.
We were outside today getting our first round of cardio in out there. He took his sunglasses off to help with the tan line. We got to work on that. So all these things you start going into spring and summer, you gotta think about a little bit.
That's right.
But we're gonna change it up just a little bit today.
Teensy weensy.
Because we've been doing a lot of Q&A and just kind of rapid fire answering questions, and we're still gonna do that. We're going to mix it in.
Throughout.
So we're going to have where we just answer a question back to back to back to back. And then we're going to have some where we kind of answer a question by making that the topic.
Yes.
And so one question.
Makes more sense.
Yeah. One question that we get a lot is, how do you go about finding an event location?
Yes.
Right? And that's not something that it's just like, one and done, right?
No.
There's a myriad of levels to that.
Yes.
We do have an instant impact show that we talk more about in length and in detail, where you can get the location. But that's several episodes back now. So we figured, it's a great time to just jump in and kind of dive into that conversation as to, how you make that happen.
And first, you need to know where you're going to have your event.
Yeah. So anytime you're looking for your event and you're looking, location, it first comes at where are you wanting to have this event? Are you wanting to have it in your backyard, somewhere within 30 to 45 minutes of where you are? Or are you making it more of a fly-in event where you're going to fly in, but other people are going to fly in too? So that's kind of where you got to decide. You got to pick your city, basically.
Yes.
And you also want to pick your location
location around what areas you want to have your event in.
Yeah.
You want to have it downtown, suburban. What do you want to do? It's easier to be somewhere near an airport or,
it depends.
It depends, really.
If people are flying into your event, having it somewhat located
near an airport,
within 15 minutes or so of an airport is good. Up to 45. You just don't want them driving forever to get there after they've already flown to get there. If it is a local event, then where are the areas people like to go?
Yes.
You would want to have it more there.
With restaurants, with other shops, with something to do instead
an area people actually enjoy.
Just a pink elephant sitting right there.
And that's it. Nothing else is around.
That's it.
It's like a desert.
Pink or white? White elephant. Yeah. I said pink. I'm in a pink mood today.
Could be purple too. You never know.
Right?
It's spring. We can have all kinds of colored elephants.
A lot of colors.
So that's the first thing, is choosing your city. And then once you choose your city, you need to know before you start looking for a location, before you pick up the phone or you start sending off emails, what type of event are you having, right? Are you having a workshop? Are you having a conference? Are you having a seminar? Are you having a trade show? Are you having more of like a retreat or a mastermind?
You need to know this ahead of time.
You've got to know all these things, because before you start looking for space, you have to know what type of space you're looking for. You also need to know how many people do you think you're going to have. Because those are all things that have to be answered before you start looking for space.
Yes.
Or you're just wasting your time and the venue's time as well. The other thing is, once you figure out what type of event you're having, how many people you think you're going to have, what is your setup going to look like?
Right.
Are you doing
classroom,
theater,
or theater
rounds? Are you doing U-shaped? Are you doing are you doing indoor, outdoor? Or do you want it all
having
in?
a cocktail party?
Right. So you got to figure
a
out.
cocktail before you start your event.
Are you doing breakfast? Are you providing lunch? Are you doing some sort of
Do
dinner?
you have a budget for that?
Do you have snacks that you're doing? Are you going to do a cocktail hour? Are you? These are all the kinds of things that you need to know
Way ahead of time
before you start picking up the phone or typing out your emails.
Yes.
Those are all things that it's like you don't want to get the cart in front of the horse. You've got to know your event size. You've got to know your space. You've got to know your time. You've got to know the things that you're wanting, because one, that helps in when you're looking for your space, when you're talking to someone. Ooh, there's a spring storm that's coming apparently.
Yeah.
It turns on a dime this time of year. It could be sunny one day, and I think we're going to have some rain coming down in a second. And look out, a twister.
Yeah.
We'll have to look out for that too.
No twisters.
It's that time of year, right?
Yeah.
So depending on where you live. But yeah, those are all the things that you want to be cognizant of before you actually start looking.
And go over and have meetings about this, and then have another meeting, and then another meeting while you figure out what you're going to teach. And then have another meeting, because those changes will happen every time.
No.
And you don't want to be on the phone with somebody and they have the right space for you, and then you make a drastic change.
Yep.
It's gonna hurt you.
What I will say as a caveat on that is sometimes people get stuck in analysis paralysis. So they have a meeting
too many.
after a meeting after, and there's a week in between each meeting, and it's like, that's too much space. You need a meeting now, have one tomorrow, and go, right?
Yes.
This is not a, let's draw this out. Let's make some decisions quickly. You can choose your city. You can choose your event type. You can choose about how many people you think you're going to have, what you want for it, and move, right? So this is not a long, drawn-out process,
that
a meeting
do
or two.
all the time, just
People do.
because they think it's easier and less work for them instead of just doing it.
And people put up, it's procrastination, right? It's like, oh, I'll do that tomorrow. We need to, I don't have to fit this whole long list of things. It's like, no, make a decision, put it on paper, and get moving actively.
And now the right event coordinator that was at that space is on maternity leave. She's gone because you took so much time, or something happened, somebody's on vacation, or nobody answers the phone for that space you really wanted to go to.
And that's the next thing, is when you do have these answers to these questions, then you can start reaching out to the venues. And that's where it brings up, maybe no one's there, maybe they're on vacation, maybe they've got other stuff going on. Dealing with venues can be a pain in the butt, right?
Yes.
You can reach out. And that's why we also say you want to be reaching out to 10, 15, 20 different venues in your location, because the majority of them are going to get back to you. The ones that do, they might not have the space for the dates that you need.
Yes.
That's the other thing. You got to pick a date.
Half aren't even going to reply.
That's the other thing. You got to pick a date, right? So you have your location. You got to pick a date, and you need to know: is this date set in stone? Is this the only date, or do you have an alternate date?
Yes.
Maybe not. It's like, are you going to have this as your only date? This is what we've already started putting it out there. We've already started going. This is our date, or do you have this date or this date, depending on the best venue that you can find for that?
Yes.
So you've got to know what type of parameters you're working with, and then you got to just get going. Now, the other thing is, once you start reaching out to venues, you need to follow up. You've got to constantly follow. They're not going to follow up with you. They're in the business of booking their event space, but they don't seem like that's what they want to do, because most of the time it's phone tag, it's email tag, it's silence on the other end.
Just like the audio visual.
Same thing.
Same aspect.
It's like, we need to really work on better.
Yes, figure out what you're going to need for that during that meeting. You're also going to figure out what you need for your AV.
As an event industry, venues and AV companies and things, they could really work on, replying back.
Because half won't, again.
We've had some that we've reached out to, and the event has come and gone, and they're like, oh, we
saw they reach out. Yeah.
It's like, that event was 2 months ago now. You're just now getting around to, wow. Okay.
Yes, or the week before.
That, though, then tells me that's not a company that I want to work with, because if they're not able to respond in a timely fashion after you've reached out once or twice, maybe 3 times, and it goes days and weeks, and they're already off the list, because if they can't pick up the phone and return a call, they can't respond to an email in a, I understand maybe they're out of the office.
A couple days here and there, but, again, when it takes weeks and weeks.
If this is your business, and that's how you operate, we're not doing business
because
together.
you want them to actually show up to the event.
And it's just, that's a big no. So if they don't get back to you, you don't want to chase them too long before they're off the list and saying, nope, that's not what we're going to work
Yep.
with. Then you are going to have those people that do reach back out to you. Then you can start the conversation. You
Yes.
can let them know what you're needing. You can start the negotiation. Do they even have the space available? If they do, then you kind of continue on that conversation. That's when you start telling them, I need a 24-hour hold. I need space for
Right.
registration.
I'm bringing my own AV.
I'm bringing my own AV. I'd like the event space comped with food and beverage that I'm paying. Like, these are all different things. And this is what we talk about more, in the blueprint and in the academy and other things that we have
Yes.
more in depth on how you do
Yes.
that. But as you're getting out there and as you're talking more, just know that you have to have some of these bases covered before you even
Yes.
think about reaching out to
Big
venues.
time.
Because, there's a whole world of venues out there. And
Yes.
if you don't know the city, and you don't know the
The
date,
area.
and you don't know the space size that you need, and the
Yes.
food and beverage, you have no business picking up the phone or sending out an
Right.
email reaching out to
Or
venues.
is it a horrible event, great event space, but you can't go outside at night?
Yeah, so that would not be an
That's-
area that you
no.
want to have it.
No, you can
want-
ask suggestions. You can reach out to people who know the area.
And you also want to, when you're talking to the venue, ask them what type of options are available for parking. If it's a pain in the butt
Yes.
to park, maybe not. If
For
everyone's
food.
flying in, okay, then maybe we can just be dropped off. What type of sleeping room situation do they have? What type of food is around there?
Yes.
What do people do in that area in the evening? Like, if there's nothing going
Yes.
on.
How many restaurants are at the hotel?
Yep.
And their hours.
These are all conversations. So you've got to have your parameters to work with. Then you can start moving forward on
Yes.
looking for the venue. And then that's really when the venues start reaching back and you start having that conversation,
Yes.
that communication. That's when the process really kicks off.
And then you need to look in that room. You
Yeah.
need to make sure there's not pillars or giant chandeliers right there in the
Or
middle
really
of the
low
floor.
ceilings.
Low ceilings where you're about to hit
Awful
your head.
colored carpet. Just all kinds of stuff.
Or really nasty, because if you're going into the hotel and then you look in their room, and if everything's dirty and nasty, everything else is going to be also.
Yeah. So you've got to start doing your due diligence once you have that. They say, yes, we have the space available. Yes, we can work with you on this.
Look
Awesome.
at the comments.
Let's start having a
different-
conversation.
yes.
That's why really what you ideally want is you want to start developing relationships with venues so that you can go back to that venue again and again
Yes.
and again and
and
again.
let them know that you want to work with them again and
Yeah.
again, because there'll be a little leeway. They'll help take care of you.
And if it's a venue and they're great, they're on it, they get back to you, the space is nice, the ceilings are high,
Yes,
the lighting
everybody,
is
you had a great
wonderful,
event.
the food is awesome. The
No construction.
customer
no construction.
Yeah, that too. The customer service is, stellar.
Yes.
You want to continue going back to that place again and again.
Right.
And then if you can find a few places around that are like that,
Right.
then you
You're
have
set.
the ability to continue that relationship. And that's really what you want.
And go
you don't
back
want
to it. Instead of going somewhere else out of town, maybe just stay at home.
Or if you
Keep
do
it-
want to go out of town, maybe you come up with your 5 locations that you like
Yes.
and your 5 different cities, and then you start
Maybe
finding
the same hotel,
the
too. Mm-hmm.
the venue. You can. So there's a myriad of different ways. So the main thing is you've got to get clear on what you want, what your event is going to be about, how
Correct.
much space, the dates, the city, the arrangement,
Yep.
the setup,
What you're
all
teaching on.
all of that kind of stuff. Then you can kind of start reaching out, and then that's the next level. Okay, then we start the
Mm-hmm. Yes.
negotiation, the communication with that. But as a starting point, when you're looking for a location, those are the things that you need to start with, right?
That's right.
Don't
Yeah.
overcomplicate it. Don't
Nope.
get stuck in analysis paralysis.
Yeah,
Don't get
not
stuck
too many
in,
meetings.
Yeah, don't get stuck in I don't know. Okay, you don't know. How do you
Yeah.
figure it out, and how do you keep moving forward? Because if that's the one major flaw that we see with a lot of speakers, people who have events, is like they don't know. So instead of going out and getting the answer is I don't know. So there is the answer. We do nothing.
Yeah,
Right.
right. And it's just, and the
it's
event's
just-
a month away, and you don't have half the
Right.
stuff taken
It's like
care of.
no. We gotta you want to work backwards and start putting these things together on the
Right.
front end so that you are able to choose, right? You don't
Right.
want to be stuck with leftovers.
No.
You don't want, well, this is the only space available for these dates. That's what we have to go with. Womp womp, right?
No.
They're stuck us in a basement in the corner around the
Right.
bin because
Yes.
again, we're having an event
Or
and
a
this is the
parking
only
garage with some drape
tent. I mean,
to block it.
yeah. So again,
LA.
the further you can reach out. The further in advance you can book your event, the further in advance you can get these things going, the better for you. You're going to have better options available. You're not going to be so pushed for time. You're going to have more negotiation that you can do because, again, they know, hey, they're booking this out 6 months to a year in advance. Okay, they're not needing it tomorrow, right?
No, so you have time to negotiate.
You have more leverage on that too as to what you're looking for because you're not just flying by the seat of your pants, putting something together last minute. Not saying that you can't put together an event last minute. It's just the more time you have, the better. Utilize the time.
Yes.
Utilize the time.
It's a
so
must.
That way you can really put together what you're wanting. I mean, you can put together a kick-ass event in a couple of months.
Quickly.
And
as long as you know what you're doing,
the
you
more
have the right
events,
people in charge of everything.
Yeah. And the more events you're doing, the more you want to have them systematized. So it's like, okay, every 6 months we have a rolling date. If it's coming up, we need to get on this.
Yes.
And then as things get closer, you can start working on the finer details as those events start coming together too.
Correct.
Alrighty, so that was
the question.
Yeah, that was our event conversation and Q&A for today. We love hearing from you guys.
Yeah, so don't hesitate.
Make sure that you let us know what questions you have, what things are you needing help with, how can we help you, how can we work with you, to continue the conversation. Send in those questions to us.
And please like us, share us.
And, subscribe,
get our message out
share,
there.
And share it with your like-minded, people in events as well, whether they're speakers, coaches, entrepreneurs in the event
we're here
space.
To help.
We want to build a thriving event community. So just make sure that you, like, share, comment, subscribe, and we will talk to you guys again soon. Have an awesome day. Bye.